Hello and welcome to another Warcraft III audio commentary. Today we are watching Game 2 of the WFZ versus Skyfans WLW series. The map is Ancient Isles 2, and let's go ahead and introduce our players. Of course I kind of already did, but hey, we have WFZ spawning in as the blue undead in the lower right corner of the map, going to be doing a Ted Fiends build, versus Skyfans spawning in as the red human in the upper left, going with a Mountain King first once again. And a fairly standard human build other than that. So of course Skyfans apparently likes his Mountain King first build. I'm not gonna fault him for that. It's a very powerful build. It does give you a lot of late game presence, I would say. Of course also gives you a lot of early game and mid game presence as well, with the bolts at all points in time. Really, that bolt can just do a lot of damage, and it poses a very potential risk of having a unit surrounded very easily throughout the whole game. So you have to be very much aware of that. Of course, that doesn't mean that you're going to see a lot of surrounds, or you're going to have instant surrounds as a Mountain King user. Of course, the undead player can micro against that, but it's just one of those things where it's like you have to be that much more attentive of it. So I mean, of course, surrounds are always an issue, but yeah. So that's all I'm saying. And we do have that Mountain King coming out right now, getting out at the same time as the Death Knight. Death Knight going to pick up a Rod of Necromancy, going to come over here, probably going to come directly to the human player and harass. It's what you normally see. And of course, Mountain King going to militia creep out his little orange camp right here, the Ogre Magi, Ogre Warrior, and the Forest Troll Trapper. So the Death Knight going to arrive just in time, it looks like, to maybe pick off some militia here. Good micro from Skyfans, trying to keep his militia above 100 HP. Probably going to lose 2 right here, maybe even 3 though. So the real question is going to be, is he going to go for the steal? Nope, just going for the militia, and going to go ahead and, yeah, he could kill this one as well with just a coil and then stick around, use those skeletons to kill the last one right there. That is 3 peasants going to go down immediately. That should be, I believe, 75 experience on the Death Knight. And yes, it is 25 experience for each kill. As you can see, that's bringing him up a fairly large amount of XP in a fairly short amount of time compared to the Mountain King who crept out in orange. So for no creeping, 75 compared to 188, pretty good. Losing 3 peasants is not... That's bad. That is really bad. A human player probably is going to generally expect to lose 1, maybe 2 peasants. Losing 3 is very devastating to your economy. Of course, that does mean you have to rebuild those peasants who need them, and it delays any kind of expansion attempt you might be doing. And of course, it also delays your wood, delays your tech. It delays everything by quite a bit. So generally, you shouldn't be doing that if you can. We do have that Mountain King and the 3 footmen. Going to go ahead immediately into WFZ's base. That's where he's going to say, you know what? I know that I can probably delay your tech now, and that's what I'm going to do because you have delayed my expansion or my tech, whatever I go with. So as you can see, immediately as soon as he walked into this base, WFZ did cancel his necropolis and go ahead and make a new acolyte. And that's very important because even though he has a Nerubian tower up, he cannot block those footmen from getting into those acolytes, getting into the gold mine. He could technically do so if he used his ghouls and placed them in the proper locations. There are three slots and he has 3 ghouls, so he could technically do it, but you have to be very quick on the trigger, and then your ghouls are going to be the focus fire. This time it's going to be a fiend that's going to get down, going to be surrounded, being killed, picked off, level 2 Mountain King being picked up. And since this is a lot of a very lengthy harass, we might actually see maybe a tech coming in from the human player rather than an expansion, but I don't know. He's doing a fair amount of damage. Does have those 2 footmen over here killing one of those acolytes. Of course, there is a spare acolyte right there, so we might not see that doing too terribly much damage, but it's going to do enough. And that Mountain King just trying to stay out at the outskirts of the battle just enough to go ahead and cause a problem. We might even see this tech being delayed even further because he's going to lose 2 acolytes so far, and that means he's down to 4 acolytes right now, going for the 3rd kill. Of course, the Mountain King now is taking a fair amount of damage. Mountain King has now been surrounded by fiends. Of course, he's going to kill one of those fiends, which will allow him to walk all the way out this way, but that's a very long walk, and he's just going to go ahead and TP instead. Of course, he has, looks like, killed 3 acolytes. Yeah, 3 acolytes, which means the undead player is now down to 3 acolytes, which means he's mining from 3 instead of 5, which is a significant gold loss. So the good side, or the bright side for the undead player, he has Halls of Dead tech almost complete, and we're actually seeing a 2nd crypt being placed down, which means we're probably going to see gargoyles, and that's a great response to this because, as you can see, Skyfans still wants to go for the expansion. We'll go ahead and see a Sentry Ward being placed down at the expansion slot by the undead player, and he's going to go ahead and come in here with the militia, going to come in here with the footmen. Might see the regeneration scroll being canceled on that Mountain King. Yes, indeed, going to happen by those skeletons, and we're going to see gargoyles, I do believe, which will be very good choice, very good response. Because even though he has one fiend, it's not really that big of a deal. As you can see, he's going to go ahead and use that fiend to try to prevent being surrounded on the Death Knight. Of course, if you have a unit right here on any of the 4 cardinal directions around your unit that they are attempting to surround, you can see that right there as well. Same thing, same concept right now. I'm going to go ahead and see a bash after that Stormbolt. 2 bashes in a row, going to unfortunately be too much to keep that fiend alive, and that fiend will go down. Really nice bashes from the Mountain King. Of course, that is just luck, but hey, really just they're just nice though. So there it is. We do have these skeletons running over here. There are still 3 footmen over there, so these skeletons probably not going to do a ton of damage. As you can see, they are trying to get a scout tower up as well. They probably should be power building that, and here come the gargoyles. They have a little bit longer before they're going to actually be made, but once they get here, they're going to be able to start doing a lot of damage. If they can pick off those towers, if they can keep the towers going up, if you can get 4 gargoyles before the human player has 1 tower up, then he pretty much is going to be able to deny this entire expansion right here. That's going to be really beneficial to him. As you can see up here, actually it's not going to matter because there isn't a lumber mill, so all he has is a arcane tower, and that's the best he can do. Once you get about 6 gargoyles, then arcane towers are completely nullified pretty much. I mean, they don't do enough damage if you only have 1 of them. Here comes that lumber mill. He knows he needs that lumber mill. Here's the gargoyles. Of course, the issue is that the Mountain King does have a pendant of energy that's 150 mana, and he can just bolt those gargoyles over and over and kill them that way. But that's about the only thing. And I'm not sure why he's running his gargoyles now towards the human's main base. Maybe he's thinking I can kill that lumber mill before it goes up. He probably knows that it's not up just yet. But still, it would have been really good to pick off these. Of course, he would have to contend at that point with the Mountain King. Would that be worth it? I don't know. I don't think it would be a bad choice, but as you can see, he's trying to cancel the lumber mill. He just doesn't have enough gargs right now to actually cancel the building as it goes up. We'll probably see that in a little bit once he has a larger number of gargoyles out on the map, because at that point he can just right-click the buildings as they go up and kill them. But if you go, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter which building you are, or whether you're at the main or the expansion when it comes to harassing, if neither one of them have towers. Now we do see that Mountain King is level 3 coming into the undead base, and he's going to be trying to do some harassing. We're going to see one of these gargoyles being stayed here at base at home, while the rest of them are over here trying to do some damage. He can't take out, I don't think, that guard tower with that many peasants right there surrounding it, just ready to repair. But we'll see. He's just going for a little bit of harass here. I think right now if he just switched those to attack that guard tower, he'd probably be in good shape. But we'll have to wait and see. Down here at this main base, there's a lot going on. As you can see, these acolytes are running around the ghouls, trying to keep the footmen, from killing these ghouls. Of course, now those footmen are going to go ahead and switch to the ghouls and just say, you know what, I don't want to chase those acolytes too far. Of course, there's about, I don't know how, there's a lot of footmen here. Let's see, 3 on those acolytes right there, and still 3 now on the ghouls, as well as that Death Knight. So just doing a lot of damage. Going to see another acolyte going down. Probably going to see this acolyte fall as well. I don't think there's not enough mana for a coil, and there's boots of speed on that Mountain King, which means he's going to be able to pick that off no problem. The gargoyles are now running home. It looks like that guard tower has gone up. There's 2 guard towers now at the expansion, and a blacksmith being built as well at that expansion for the human player. Do we have enough mana for a bolt? No. Otherwise, this gargoyle with 16 HP would be dead. So of course we're going to have to see some of these acolytes being repaired, or rebuilt, right now. Trying to get enough gold back so that WFZ can do something. And the problem is with Gargs, you can take out a guard tower, potentially. We'll see this guard tower being canceled right now as well. If he has it, yeah, I'll just wait for it, coil this gargoyle right here, or potentially kill the Mountain King. Yeah, no, yeah, go for the gargoyle, coil that, and come in here and kill this guard tower that's being built. And there is the power of the gargoyles. You see, just taking a little bit of damage was able to cancel a tower, no problem. Of course, there's a spirit tower up for the undead player. He only has 30 food max right now. He only has 2 ziggurats, and that's Halls of the Dead. So that provides 30 supply that he can basically work with. There's a clarity on that Mountain King trying to come down here. He's going to go ahead and want to toss a couple of bolts off. Not going to be able to get too comfortable to run into this base, though. If he gets hit by either the main or the Nerubian tower, he probably would die. So he's going to be making a good decision by not running in here. Of course, these footmen are still here, just trying to do as much damage as they can, but it's not going to be a huge amount. Of course, with the Defend, they can pretty much stay in there for quite some time, but again, they're not going to kill anything or do anything significant right now. Of course, we do have these gargoyles on the map coming back over here, going to try to cancel more towers. They could easily cancel all 3 of those towers, and at some point they can kill that guard tower or that arcane tower once they have maybe one attack upgrade. You can't actually afford that just yet. but if he can get to 1 attack upgrade and about 9 gargoyles, he'll be able to kill that guard tower even if it's being repaired pretty easily, I would say. But here we can see he's going to go ahead and cancel 2 of those guard towers, probably try to cancel that scout tower as well. Of course, if he was tier 3 and he had stone form, he'd be looking really good, but because then he could just heal those gargoyles up as they take some damage from that guard tower and that arcane tower. But as it is now, he's just going to have to basically cycle through his gargoyle positioning, having the full or the most HP ones tanking the guard tower. But now we do have a rifleman coming out as well. Rifleman is going to be a bit of an issue for these gargoyles, because riflemen, just like the towers, they do a lot of extra damage to the gargoyles. They are unarmored, which means they take extra damage from piercing, and both the rifleman as well as the guard tower do piercing damage. So rifles are a very good counter to gargoyles. The only issue is that gargoyles have way better mobility than the rifles, and that is an issue. But is it the biggest issue? I don't know. I'm not really sure, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, one rifle versus however many gargoyles are right here. The rifle is not a huge deal, but once again, what we're really seeing is just that harass. Of course, we'd have the same harass coming in from Skyfans into WFZ's base. Of course, he does have a bunch of defended footmen in here doing a ton of damage, and we can see that he has that expansion up as well. With a barracks there producing riflemen also, and teching at the expansion to keep. So making some good plays by Skyfans right now, and we can see again a really good micro though from WFZ. Keeping these acolytes alive for the most part against this harass is incredibly difficult and requires a lot of micro. Of course, we do have those gargoyles going onto the Mount King. He's pretty much letting his base deal with the footmen, and they are defended footmen, so not an easy task whatsoever. But here comes some gargoyles, going to go ahead and give a little bit of help finally to the base, saying, you know what, I'm tired of this. And as you can see with defended footmen, they can reflect piercing attacks right back to their attackers, as you can see going on with these units right here. It doesn't work for buildings, so towers and such do not have any reflect damage from defend, but for units such as gargoyles, they do. And as you can see, it makes these footmen very, very tanky. I don't know quite what their effective health is, but I read somewhere at some point that they have more effective health than a Tauren when they have defend up versus piercing damage units, and it looks like that's about right. So yeah, that is a bit scary if you're going gargoyles versus human. Of course, now there are 3 guard towers up, as well as an arcane tower and 2 rifles at Skyfan's main base. And over here at his expansion, we have 3 guard towers, an arcane, and 2 rifles, making a 3rd. So he's in pretty good shape. Of course, we're going to go ahead and see the red drake going down instantly to these gargoyles. As you can see, they do 61 to 70 damage to air units, 18 to 21 to ground units. That's a lot. Over here, we can see the Mount King has staffed into this base, going for these acolytes once again. Just down to 2 acolytes right now at this gold mine. Really an unfortunate situation for the undead player to really be trying to keep these alive. It's very difficult, but we do have this Mountain King. It's going to go ahead and TP out because it's very low on life right now, and it doesn't want to try to walk out. If it tried walking out, it would get coiled and it would go down. Of course, there isn't a coil yet, but he would be running right by a shop. It would take some time for him to walk out from this position all the way out here. He would definitely have enough time to buy a mana potion, or at least chase him down and TP him or coil him one way or another. And I don't know if he even could check the DK's mana right there to know, but he knew he had the Sobi, and so that's not really something you want to mess around with. Losing your Mountain King in this sort of situation, while it wouldn't be a huge issue, just because of how far ahead right now Skyfans is, it's still not something you want to do. But here we can see it looks like trying to get level 5 on this Death Knight, going solo DK still, going to pick up a belt of giant strength. That's 6 strength right there, which is quite a bit of HP. It's 25 per point. So that is 25, 50, 75, 150 life right there from that item. Pretty good item. Pretty good item. So yeah, we can see the Mountain King now. He is just wandering around the map. Looks like this time he's not quite too interested in coming down here to harass. As you can see, there is now a full block on the gold mine right here for the undead player. Of course, footmen can still get in right here, and I think that's the only location that they can actually get in right now. So just right here, this is the only in or out. You can just place a goal right there if you'd like to, and it'll be a bit of an issue for these footmen. Of course, now that Mountain King can still be in range to both these acolytes and kill them. Of course, we do have that Death Knight and Gargoyle army still creeping. And still tier 2 at the undead player. So I'm starting to think maybe if we look over here, yeah, the human player is now out teching the undead player. Very annoying type of play, this constant acolyte harass. Not something you really ever want to be playing against ideally. Of course, probably going to see this acolyte going down as well, and then you can just bolt another one and kill it. Yeah, as you can see, this is really unfortunate for WFZ, spending so much resources just on acolytes and ghouls as well. And as you can see, almost all of the experience this Mountain King has right now, almost level 5, coming from both the acolytes and the ghouls. So definitely a really, really hard thing for WFZ to come back from. But he has so many gargs at this point. see 40 food of Gargs, and he is about to level 5 on his Death Knight. Very close, picking up a Dark Ranger as his second hero. Level 2 has been picked up on that Dark Ranger. We might just see a push, a really good push coming in from WFZ that could potentially take out the expansion. I mean, there's not a huge army from WFZ, or I'm sorry, from Skyfans right now. As you can see, two rifles over there. We're going to see Dragonhawk Riders? Well, that's just an odd choice, because Dragonhawk Riders versus Gargoyles makes no sense. If there's a Dark Ranger, you can just silence them. Rifles, I think, are a much better choice. They did just get a buff, and they're already the de facto unit to make Rifle Caster versus Guards. It does really well, but hey, if you want to go Dragonhawk Riders, it's not a bad choice either. I mean, really. So, but yeah, here we can see this expansion is taking so much damage right now. It's going to go down, I think. I mean, I don't see how on earth Skyfans could potentially even defend this. Level 5 has now been picked up by the Death Knight. I'm not sure if he's making an attempt to even save these Gargoyles at this point. I think he might just be using them as a one-shot army, just doing what he can right here, but looks like I'm wrong. I don't know. I was like, I don't know if he'd want to, but I mean, honestly, then again, I was just thinking maybe he could transition out of it, because losing Gargs, of course, to towers isn't a huge deal. But yeah, it actually doesn't make too much sense, does it? No. That's a lot of resources to waste. His waste was not a very good idea. And plus, I think right now he's actually in a spot where he could potentially win with a Gargoyle-based army. If you're going Dragonhawk Riders, that's just not going to beat the Gargoyles. I mean, you need significant numbers of Dragonhawk Riders, and you're not going to have them. Of course, Workshop, if you go Flying Machines and Dragonhawk Riders, that would easily work, yeah. But here we can see that Workshop has been canceled. We're seeing the guard towers now taking a bit of damage. We're going to see another rifleman has died as well, and that's going to reinforce the Undead's army when he uses his what's it called? Dark Arrow from the Dark Ranger, which will allow him to raise a minion from every unit he kills. We'll go ahead and see another Gargoyle going down to that Mountain King. Level 5 Mountain King does one very powerful damage. Bolts. I don't want to say the number of damage because I can't quite remember, but I think it's 350 damage at level 3, which is, I think, pretty good. Yeah, as you can see, there's only a guard tower and arcane tower left and 2 rifles at this expansion. I think right now WFC is going to be able to push this down. That Mountain King isn't here just yet. Of course, he does have a clarity on him right now, as well as this potion of mana, so he's going to be able to do a ton of bolts, just trying to micro those low HP Gargs away, and going to go ahead and coil another Garg, bolt another Garg, and that Garg will get coiled as well, and it's actually going to stay alive, but probably going to go ahead and see maybe even the Dark Ranger taking a bolt here. That's a potential possibility. There is not any mana for a coil on the Death Knight, so I guess no, I'm just going to go ahead and right-click the Dark Ranger. I'm going to get a dash, going to pass the Hellstone over to the Dark Ranger and use that right there. Of course, these peasants have done a good job with repairing. Level 2 Masonry upgrade between that and the rifles and the Mountain King has provided enough focus for WFZ to have to actually back off at this point. Well, we see Tier 3, still no Tier 3. It hasn't been picked up from WFZ just yet. So, hey, there you go. Doomforge, and sorry, yeah. So we have a Blood Mage second, Blood Mage at level 1, picking up an invulnerability potion, or I'm sorry, a lesser invulnerability potion, and the Mountain King at level 5 also has a lesser invulnerability potion. And now you can see it looks like WFZ is coming over here to creep out this this gold mine right here is natural. If he goes for an expansion, he looks like he's going to go for that. Bringing an Acolyte up here, of course, that Acolyte is unfortunately going to go down immediately to a coil. There's really, or I'm sorry, a bolt. There's really nothing you can do. It simply does enough damage to one-shot the Acolyte from full HP, which is an insane amount of damage if you think about it. Of course, we do have that Death Knight just trying to stay close enough, going to get this coil once this inevitable bolt comes on to this Dark Ranger. I think we're about to see that. Yes, indeed. Oh, a banished bolt, and that's not going to be enough to kill him. And the coil is going to come in and add a banished coil. Going to go ahead and give a full HP heal from essentially dead on that Dark Ranger. And that is the power of Banish. If you don't know, Banish provides 66% enhanced magic damage / healing. So if you have a 600 healing coil, which is what coil does, it heals for 600 or deals 300 damage at level 5. You enhance that by 66%, and I'm not sure what 66% of 600 is, but the point is it's a lot, and it was able to bring that Dark Ranger back up to about 825 life with no problem whatsoever. So there is a downside to the Banish, but of course we do have that Paladin out as well now, so that's Holy Light, and Holy Light will do 66% more damage as well as that bolt. It's a lot of damage. I think right now the combo does 450 damage, 350 on the bolt, 100 on the Holy Light. Of course, that's reduced by 25% to a hero. But you do have the 66% increase from the Banish. I don't quite know the order of those, how they work out, but it's something, it's a lot of damage, and we're going to probably see that. As you can see, doesn't want that Dark Ranger to get very low. Going to go ahead and do that, just coil very early on. Here we can see these Dragonhawk Riders are coming in to engage this fight, and the Gargoyle is going to be doing fairly well. not enough mana on the Dark Ranger to get a silence off, and actually going to see a lot of these Gargoyles perhaps die right here. I'm not sure. With these rifles as well, doing pretty well. Do we have a TP? A TP is going to have to come out from this undead player, and he's going to lose so many Gargs right here. That's unfortunate for him. Yeah, that was actually a lot of Dragonhawk Riders, and again, if he had enough mana for a silence on his Dark Ranger, he could have won that engagement, I think, but without enough mana for the silence, he's just going to get picked apart and ripped to shreds. And going for this expansion at this point, you're gonna have to cancel it again. You can't do that if you don't have map control, and right now he does not have map control. The other second bigger issue perhaps is that he was feeding a lot of experience right now to both that Blood Mage and that Paladin. If those both hit level 3 and level 5 on that Mountain King, it's not really looking too good, we'll say, for the undead in that situation. It's very difficult, if not outright impossible, to win that game if against those levels of heroes. The amount of damage they do with the Banish Bolt combo at that point is literally insane. So you just start right-clicking the Death Knight essentially, whoops, and you can pretty much end the game that way. Once you have those kind of hero levels, it's just so much damage. I think it's potentially something that should get nerfed. I don't say that very often, I don't think, but 66%. I mean, you get 300 damage from the Holy Light, 350 from the bolt. That's 650. You increase that by 66%, reduce it by 25%. Even in the best case scenario, that is an insane amount of damage. It doesn't really matter if you have better hero levels on the undead heroes, because you can't compete with that kind of damage. You just can't. It is absolutely insane. But hey, that's how the game works. And so yeah, WFZ knows that going into this. And here we can see those Dragonhawk Riders. There's not enough Gargoyles at this point really to deal with this, I don't think. Maybe there are, I guess, because, you know, he's winning the fight, so I guess there are. He has a silence. Yeah, there you go. Silence is going to be a very big deal there. Of course, we do have now Knights and Griffins also coming out for the human player. I would say the human player is in really good shape right now. WFZ going for that expansion once again, going to have it denied. 3 Dragonhawk Riders, of course, are 7 Gargoyles, maybe 9 now with these 2. I think, I can't quite tell, but it looks like that's about 7, 3, 5, yeah, that's 7. So 9 Gargoyles on the field versus 3 Dragonhawks. So the Dragonhawks are going to become pretty much negligible at this point. Maybe they'll get silenced. Probably they won't. Just going to take a little bit of extra micro from the human player. It takes more micro Dragonhawk Riders than Griffins, or I'm sorry, than Gargoyles. Gargoyles are very easy to micro against Dragonhawk Riders compared to the difficulty there. You can see one of these Griffin Riders going down. Sorry about that. That is a Skype message. Hopefully they won't keep messaging me. I meant to put myself into D&D. Forgot. Whoops. Yeah, so here we have this engagement going on. We can see that the undead player doing pretty well, all things considered. I mean, he's silenced the Mountain King and the Paladin. That's going to be very helpful. We do have those Riflemen going down. Very nice Book of the Dead actually coming in from the Blood Mage. No doubt picked up at the Goblin Laboratory creep on this map. Having the Paladin taking some damage, going to be forced to pop a Divine Shield. There are quite a few Dark Minions on the map right now. Level 5 Dark Ranger, he has used an Invulnerability Potion as well. He was slightly surrounded there, and that's not a situation you really want to be in. I'm going to go ahead and pick off a couple of those summons. Going for the Blood Mage now. Going to go ahead and pop a lesser Invulnerability Potion on that Blood Mage as well. Here comes the Banish. Oh, the Banish Bolt coming in, and the coil hitting just before the Holy Light. Really well done by WFZ. Proper reaction timing, otherwise he would have lost that. No, my wow, that Blood Mage is potentially going to go down right now. If a coil lands, it will die, and as you can see, he's trying to block that, but there goes the coil. Very long range coil over the entire screen. Going to be able to take down the Blood Mage, and WFZ once again actually in a pretty good position, which is very surprising. I don't see how he's actually managing to do this right now, but hey, that Sobi Mask and that Pendant of Energy on the Death Knight, no doubt being a very big contender, I would say, for helping this. Of course, allowing them to have 600 mana is insane. I mean, giving a Death Knight 600 mana, that is just downright imbalanced. So he's probably having a blast of a time. Of course, he also has those statues to help heal, and he just has his mana, and he just has so much coil right now, and that's really good. Yeah, that's really good. Of course, we do have these acolytes coming here for the expansion attempt one more time. The Mountain King knows they're there, so he's going to try to do a run-by, maybe a drive-by bolting. Of course, those acolytes have moved very much entrenched. Let me go ahead and see that Mountain King saying, I'm going to go all the way in at least for 1 kill right there, and going to staff out right now, knowing that he will be chased down and killed by Bolt severely if he doesn't TP out right there. And as you can see, which is ridiculous, actually, a Tome of Agility being picked up right there by the Dark Ranger, really nice. But you can just see how much mana regeneration is on this Death Knight right now. I mean, just a moment ago he was at 270 mana, already up to about 400 mana. I mean, it's really good. That is really good. And we can see over here a bunch of flying machines are being built right now. They have flat cannon. They do have 2-0 upgrades, as you can see. About one control group here, one control group here. That's about 24 flying machines. That'll easily be enough to kill all of those gargoyles. The question is going to end up being ultimately, will WFZ be able to defeat them? I mean, he can beat the flying machines with gargoyles. It's possible. It's something you can do, but it's very difficult, and it's probably going to require 2 healing scrolls, one on each hero, and maybe even a 3rd hero just for holding another healing scroll. Maybe we'll have to see if you can pick up a panda. That would work really well. But here comes this fight going in. You're just gonna lose all of these gargoyles right here, I do believe. Yeah, as you can see, just they die so very fast to the flying machines, and he wasn't even able to focus fire on them. Down to just his 2 heroes and statues right here, as well as some skeleton minions, just fighting up against these heroes from them, the human player as well as these militia and these flying machines. Probably gonna see the bomb upgrade being researched now on the flying machines as well to make them useful at this point, because it's very unlikely that WFZ will make any more air units. That's 24 food tied up in anti-air for Skyfans, but the problem is he has map control now, and this expansion is his lifeblood. If he loses the expansion, he's in trouble, so he has to do something to defense, bringing in some fiends. Fiends are going to be your best option at this point, I think, at this point in the game. You can't keep them alive. And they will soak up some of those banish nukes, and you really have to soak up those banish nukes. So, I mean, we're going to see a look at that immediately. A bolt on that fiend, taking out so much life, bringing him down to about 200 life right off the bat. Going to be forcing the coil. Well, we see the blood mage could go down right now. The blood mage does go down as well to a coil, and that paladin was silenced. Really nice play from WFC once again. But of course, we do have the Skyfans just doing some damage. Going to see this paladin potentially going down as well. The paladin going to get a divine shield off just very much in the nick of time. We have flying machine bombs has been researched, and all of those flying machines are now at the expansion, trying to deny the expansion while this fight is underway. And that's a really good play by Skyfans right now, just trying to micro his army and have a multitasking going on in every potential avenue that he can take at the fight as well. We might actually see this paladin being in trouble. This paladin will most likely die right here, I think, if he just gets his Death Knight close enough, and I think he can. It's a very fast Death Knight compared to that paladin, plus the paladin is currently slowed by Nerubian Tower, so I think just one coil right now will kill him, and he just needs to cast that coil, and he has the mana, so he's got plenty of mana. There it is, there's the coil, and the Divine Shield cooldown, unfortunately, has just been refreshed, and that was enough for him to stay alive. So there you have that, the paladin getting away with a very low HP, less than 100 HP, definitely in coil range, and basically getting away by dodging a coil. We can see this has died now. There are long distance mining peons or peasants going. Well, they're not long distance mining. They're just mining and bringing down maybe some kind of towers somewhere. We'll see what he's going to do with those peasants. But other than that, we can see this knight is going to go down to a coil as well. Of course, at this point, all you have to do is get below 300 HP as a unit, and you will die to this coil. Of course, the same is pretty much true for the Mountain King. Get below 350 HP, and you're dead. Well, I say below, I mean below or at, really, because units do not have magic resistance like heroes do. But yeah, so the Mountain King is actually out of mana at this point. Gonna go ahead and see some of these peasants being picked off by the Dark Ranger, picking up some more dark minions. Never a bad thing. Just getting those. Of course, that Mountain King trying to do some damage, not really doing too much. If he gets surrounded on the Mountain King, it potentially takes some issue, but he does have a Staff of Teleportation as well as a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Not going to be the biggest deal if he does. Skyfan's actually out of gold as well at this point. Holy crap. I mean, WFZ might win this. He could win this game because I mean, look at the armies. I mean, Skyfans is out of gold. He's trying to revive his Blood Mage. We mean, both players out of gold. I mean, Skyfans has 411 gold, so he does have some gold. He could potentially build an expansion, but I mean, that's not going to really happen. I mean, this is... I'm flabbergasted right now at the situation. This scenario is insane. I mean, such good play from WFZ to stay in this game. He's definitely at the disadvantage the entire game. We're going to see that Blood Mage probably coming out right now. Unfortunately, not going to be denied, but he might be in a bit of trouble if he doesn't pop out on this side of that altar. He does. He was wise. He was like, I'm not gonna pop out towards your undead army. Oh, sorry, burping. And that Mountain King taking so much damage. You might actually see the Mountain King die right now. He's gonna be the next squirrel is gonna be dodged most likely by the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, but he could go ahead and kill it. Oh, going for the Paladin. Gonna go ahead and silence the Paladin. The Paladin will be taken down. That's not good because that altar has now died. There's not enough mana or enough gold to alter or to Tavern revive the Paladin. That means the Paladin is out of commission this game. I think we're going to see WFZ win this game. This Mountain King has about 7 seconds to live, and he's down he goes. He's dead. Wow, level 7 has been picked up now by the Death Knight. Wow, this is not the situation I was expecting at all. Just, wow. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I'm literally speechless right now. The human player is going for the flying machines to try to end the game by building, by doing the building lane right here. But I mean, he could win. He could win with that. Right now, I felt certain a couple seconds ago that the undead player would win the game, and now I feel less certain that the undead player is going to win the game with these flying machines. He doesn't have a lot of buildings here. And he can long distance mine in the meantime. Really odd right here to keep your fiends here. I feel like your fiends probably should be something near the flying machines. I'm not sure, but yeah, we can see the main has died. There's a Dark Ranger down here trying to do some damage. I don't even know who's gonna win this game. This is really close. This is incredibly close. This is one of the closest games I've seen all year, in fact. So yeah, we'd have the Death Knight coming in. He's gonna go for the quill, but again, he doesn't need his army as much as he just needs these flying machines. Keep the flying machines here, and I mean, will he be able to kill those flying machines before those flying machines kill all of his buildings? And that's the question. I don't know whether he will. The Blood Mage has died to the Death Knight going with those mass coils, and here we see that he's long distance mining now. Oh, level 6 charm has been picked up. Going to steal that knight. If he uses that knight effectively, he could just go ahead and run that into these peasants and be able to do a bit of damage right there. Of course, will we see? Oh, there's another knight in here. Going to miss the coil, unfortunately, just barely. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Who's going to win this game? It's going to come down to, will those flying machines kill these undead buildings first, or will those flying machines die? And that's the question. That is entirely the question right now in this game. And it looks like the flying machines are at the advantage right now. I tell you, I don't know. It looks to me like WFZ is going to lose to this. This would be an unfortunate way to lose, but honestly, I got to tell you, even if he does lose to this, he played such a good game this game. Really well done by him, and yeah, he's going to lose to this. That is incredibly a terrible way to end. Oh, that's so unfortunate for WFZ. He definitely outplayed Skyfans in this game, I think, really for quite some time, but in the end going to be outplayed by flying machines. That is, what an ending. What an ending. Good game. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't even have an analysis of that game. That was insane. That game was insane. Yeah. So that was game 2. If you'd like to watch game 1, click here. And there is a game 3. So if you'd like to watch that, just click here, and I will see you there.